Welcome back this week for another round of Let's Talk About It. Today's topic is going to be servanthood versus selfishness. And then after that, we're going to talk to Zeth Osborn from Refuge Youth Network and talk a little bit about how to handle those teens. Fire tests silver and heat tests gold, but people are tested by the praise they receive. Proverbs 27:21. We recently finished up a community-wide Easter musical that was performed at the most beautiful Mishler Theater. It was the first one out of our church in 10 years. The play was written and directed by our own Troy Ferguson. Throughout this entire process, Troy has worn a multitude of hats to see this musical come to fruition. He's been teaching the choir for months. He sold advertising. He did the layout for the playbill. He's orchestrated crews to load, unload, build, tear down, unload again. And he's been infused in every fiber of this play. And the day after the musical, several people were writing lengthy Facebook posts about Troy. And trust me, he deserved every single word. But he responded with the humblest response, as I knew he would. He gave praise to the cast and crew, and most importantly, he gave glory to God for the success of that musical, deflecting the attention and accolades from himself. You have to know, we work in an atmosphere around here where we are taught fundamental and biblical leadership skills by our own leader, one who leads us by example, and one who, like Troy, is not afraid to do the grunt work. Shovel snow from the steps, laid flooring for days in our ed wing, and even cleaned toilets when our janitors were on vacation. It's not unusual for the task of our leader. Nothing is beneath him or us as a staff. Around here, we would all rather not be flooded with attention, but just do the jobs that need to be done. Listen, we all love the praises of man from time to time, but Colossians 3:23 puts it all into perspective. Whatever you do, do it from the heart as something done for the Lord and not for people, knowing that you will receive the reward of an inheritance from the Lord whom you serve. I'm so glad we are taught to serve in humbleness. Just three ladies with bold opinions, always backed by a biblical standpoint. So hey, let's talk about it.
This segment is brought to you by Harry's Construction, whose motto is, "If you can dream it, we can create it." They are the kitchen and bath design experts, so call Harry's Construction for all your remodeling needs.
When it's time for a new roof, Champion Roofing is your best choice. We're a certified award-winning roofing contractor, meaning your roof is done right the first time. Call today.
Champion Roofing, we're the solution.
Welcome back. Today we're going to dive into the discussion of servanthood versus selfishness. When to serve, when is too much, which is my problem. That's my problem, is not serving when I'm putting myself out there to the point that now I'm no longer doing it with a good heart. But
I don't have that problem.
Galatians 6:9.
You always do it with a good heart?
No, I don't always serve.
I don't like to say no.
I totally missed where you were going.
You do in your own way. We all do. But
yes.
There's some jobs in servanthood that aren't as glorifying as others.
Yeah.
But Galatians 6:9 says, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." Again, I think it's easy sometimes to do the things like this show puts us out there. We have a platform. But a lot of jobs in ministry are not as glorifying.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. Jesus, if we read the Gospels and we follow his example, he would step away from the crowds and spend time by himself with God. And years and years ago, I had a friend who said, when I got the Holy Ghost, I also got the Holy Goes. And that was not what I needed. The Holy Ghost just means you're just constantly doing. And you almost forget why you're doing it.
And you burn out.
Absolutely.
You burn out.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a heart issue.
Yeah.
It's a heart
It is.
issue.
I feel like we live in an era where we can make everything and anything about us. And we have a platform to tell everybody all the things that we're doing. And I
Yes.
feel like we need to serve in humbleness.
Even on this show, guests we have interviewed, I think, how do they do all of that? I'm not doing near enough. That is not what God
No.
is wanting from us.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
It's not.
For me, I feel like when we look at these two words, I feel like we see the extremes of both.
Yes.
It's hard to find a person that's balanced in both of them.
Exactly.
I look at my husband, and he's very selfless, and he will do, and he will say yes. It's hard for him to say no. He wants to help. He wants to do more. He's a dreamer. He's a go-getter. But then it can be so much that's on his plate that I'm like, oh my goodness, like, when do you have time for you? When do you rest? When, because you do have to have that balance. Where then I'm on the other side where I'm like, no, no, and where I also need to find that balance of like, there are times that I need to step out and do things that maybe I don't like, but because it's a need that needs met, then I need to be willing to sometimes do that.
Well, and I think too, as Christians, it is easy to guilt people into things. I mean, what's the thing? 90% of the work gets done by 10% of the people, or something like that.
In the church.
Which is true.
Right.
That it frequently is the same people doing things. But if we are not discipling and bringing people alongside of us and letting them find the joy in serving, because your yes means something. Whereas maybe your husband's yes, not that, I'm using that as an example, doesn't mean as much. If you tell me yes about something, boy, I know you feel led to do that, so it's hard to find the balance.
It is hard to find the balance.
It is, because I've done this to myself. And actually, a couple of days ago, I told Joy, I'm like, man, I think I'm out there again telling everybody I'm going to do this and I'll do that. And I'll have myself all stressed out. And of course, because he does the same thing, he had no sympathy for me because he would do it too. Well, let me ask you this. Why, why don't you want to do it? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the fact of it is, if you don't run your life will run you.
Right.
And I put myself in those positions quite often, actually. And I've gotten better at it. And then recently, I've kind of like
we do fall back into it.
Fell back into it. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And for me, I know though too, even though I need to be better, I know I also do need to say no more, because you probably don't want to be around me as a person who says yes all the time, because
your face will show it.
My attitude
Your attitude will
and
show it.
everything
Okay.
else will be coming out. I need that me time. I need, sleep. I just need that. And so even though I could do better, I also know that there's a balance that I need to have, where you probably wouldn't want to be around me anyways.
Well, and I think when say somebody has been working in the nursery for 6 years, and they say, I need to take a break, we tend to be like, no, don't do that. No. Well, we need to say, yes, that's fine.
Right.
If you do that.
And the thing with the working in the church part, if everybody would just be willing to do one thing, like that, let God move in the giftings in you, figure out what that is, but then do it. You might only have to do it once a month.
Oh my goodness,
once every
less
other
than
month.
that. That's exactly
if
right.
Everybody
That's
gave
right.
a week here and there, the amount of times you'd actually have to do it would be very little.
I know one time when we first started coming to this church, first of all, that is how I got to know people. I volunteered for everything.
And what church do you go to, Teresa?
Transformation
Okay.
Church, but it was Pleasant Valley at the time.
Yeah, right.
And I came here from North Carolina. I knew no one. And that's how I built rapport with people.
Right.
that's how I got involved in a lot of things. I cleaned people's houses. I did all kinds of stuff. And I enjoyed every single minute of it. But I do think that's what new people tend to do.
Yes.
And then before long, it's like you said, they just fizzle.
Yeah.
Well, because what happens, I think, too, is because there is such a need, then everybody's pulling you in. Oh,
Yes.
let's use her here, let's use her here,
Yeah.
let's use her here. And it's like, oh, we can't do that. Because then there's burnout, and there's like, oh, man, they just want me for
That's
what I
right.
can do.
We don't want, people don't need to feel used
Right.
by the church. We want to feel blessed with each other. We want to feel nurtured by the church.
Loved and encouraged.
even when it's in serving.
Right.
Even when it's in serving.
Right.
I have found sometimes when I need volunteers to do things, I will purposely say, no, I know they'll say yes, but I am not asking them.
Right.
Right.
They
Ask
need a
somebody
break.
else. That's right.
They need a break.
That's right.
I've even done that with a cafe. There are certain people that I probably think would probably say yes. But I'm like, well, they have young kids, and they need to. I know they need to get them ready, and so I'll wait. Until,
that's really good.
You know, they're
You're
a little bit
thinking about
older
what
to
they're-
maybe
yes.
ask them. You
Yes.
know, but I also made it a goal of mine if I could get enough people on the cafe list that we do only have to do it once every other month.
Yes.
You know,
I think it's a fine line because I do think like it does give people a sense of belonging. Serving is a good thing.
yeah.
It's such a good thing.
Absolutely.
And it makes people feel important and it makes them feel part of the family and all of that. There's just like that fine line. You can't be selfish, Kelly. No, I'm just kidding. But you can't.
Hey, I'm a work in progress.
You
girl.
can't
Aren't we all?
overextend. You can't overextend yourself.
No, that's right. And I can't say, well, Kelly should be doing, because I'm not Kelly. I'm not her. I am me. God has gifted me with certain talents, abilities, and functions that I can do. Maybe your husband doesn't require as much sleep as you do. That's fine for him. But I can't say, oh, you don't do enough. No, that is not true. We tend to project who we are
Onto
on
other people.
somebody
Right.
else.
Absolutely.
And we cannot do that.
Yeah. And one thing that I've really tried to learn is being the women's ministry leader at Transformation Church, there are some aspects that I love of it and I don't mind being pulled into it. And then there are other things, for example, finding people to do meals for someone. That's not something that I totally enjoy doing.
Right.
It's because it can be hard. But yet I've learned, I don't enjoy it. That's just going to have to be, though, something that is on my list because of my position. And really, it is a good thing. So even though I don't like it, it's important and I'm going to do it.
And I'm going to do it.
And
That's
I'm
right.
going to do it.
Until God gives you someone
That might want to lead
who
that.
loves doing that sort of thing.
Right.
Right. So I guess what we're trying to say is there is much to be gleaned by serving and being willing to be a vessel in ministry. Churches cannot survive without volunteers. Just know your boundaries, find your strong points, and volunteer in that area. We will appreciate you.
Yes, we will.
When we come back, we will have Zeth Osborn as our guest today.
New Life Worship Center's tax ministry is in their 13th year of serving. This is an organization who will do your taxes, and they only ask for a $30 donation to benefit local charities. They will e-file federal and state returns and complete local returns for you to mail in. They can handle everything from basic family returns to rentals and property returns. Contact New Life Worship Center's tax team on Facebook or by calling them today. Impact Productions, a multi-layer technology company providing on-site, online, and in-studio video services. Contact Impact Productions to capture your story.
Welcome back. Today we have Zeth Osborn with us, who works for Refuge Youth Network. He's going to talk to us about what it's like to navigate through today's youth. So Zeth, tell us a little bit about yourself and then tell us what you do for Refuge Youth Network.
Yeah, my name is Zeth Osborn. I work with Refuge Youth Network as the assistant director to all 4 campuses. What that entitles is basically whatever the directors of that said campus need, I kind of am there just to help set up for the game, set up for the night. Basically doing everything so that all they have to worry, the directors have to do is just get up there and speak. That's the only thing they have to worry about. And they get the opportunity just to hang out with kids and stuff like that. So I'm often behind the scenes getting stuff done, doing all the setup and stuff like that. And I really do enjoy it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So I love the story, but not everybody knows it, on how you actually got into this, that you were actually part of the youth group.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that journey.
So I originally started over at Abundant Life on Howard Avenue here in Altoona, and over there they told us about Refuge Youth Network over in Pinecroft, at the time was at New Life. So I decided to go over there and attend, and that's where I really started following the Lord and getting discipled and doing the things that, I should be doing. And through that, I started coming to the Wednesday night program here as well, which was called the Refuge Underground at the time. And pretty much from there, it just took off. I was there since I think 2014, 2015. I got a call to go into youth ministry when we went to youth convention, one of the times we went to youth convention there. And then Pastor Micah, who is the director of everything, he hooked me up with a nice college and stuff like that I could afford. I went away to Bible college. I got a degree, came back, and he hired me on as well. So it's been a real blessing to not only be a part of the same youth group I was with. I had not heard the whole
story.
I think that's so cool. Like you grew up with the youth group, and now you have a job with the youth.
Okay, so life has a funny way of coming back around full circle. I know he hates this story, but it's hysterical to me today. He was in a little field trip group that I was with in Washington, D.C. for grade school. He was a terrorist. And he'll admit he was.
I was.
All day, I just wanted to strangle this kid. Towards the end
And
of
how
the
old
day,
were you at this time?
I would say 11, 12 maybe.
yeah, like
okay.
5th or 6th grade.
Yeah.
Okay.
So towards the end of the day, Zeth starts to kind of peter out a little bit, and we're in this museum waiting in this big line to see the Declaration of Independence, and he's laying on the marble floor. And I'm like, get up off that floor, that's so disrespectful. And he's like, I don't feel very good. And I'm like, oh, you do so. And I'm like on him so badly. The kid had meningitis and almost died. And I'm yelling at him, get up off the floor. And here we are today, adults, working in ministry together. I mean, it's a beautiful story.
Have you forgiven her for that?
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
And I've forgiven him for terrorizing me for an entire day. But Zeth, it's crazy today. Like, I'm 54. I look at youth today, and I'm sure that the generation before me thought the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that our youth are terrible. I'm just at 54 looking at the identity confusions and just the things in general that kids deal with today that I probably didn't even have to deal with. How are you navigating all of this? Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And these are things that I didn't even have to deal with as a teenager. This all started whenever I pretty much started in ministry after I graduated college, when all this stuff picked up. So it was really hard for me to talk with Pastor Micah and the rest of the staff and be like, how do we navigate through this? And we've all come to the conclusion that the reality of it is like, it don't matter what's going on. As long as you love those teenagers, as long as you're loving on them and walking life with them and being that example of Jesus and God to these teenagers, that reflects off to them. That reflects off to them really strongly.
And it's a seed planted.
Yeah, exactly.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
They could be struggling, but the thing is they know Refuge is a safe place for them to come to, no matter what they think they are, whether they think they're transgender or whatever it may be. They're more than welcome to any time come here because they know they're going to get loved on here, and they know that they're also going to be able to encounter Jesus with us. We always have that opportunity open and available to all of our students, whether they walk into those doors or not. And we don't put up with the bullying or anything like that. We stop it right on the dot as soon as if anyone even tries to start anything. So not only is this a safe place, but we also like to protect our students, and we do that through other relationships that we have in the community as well. So we have friends in the schools and stuff like that as well that we connect with, and if anything goes wrong with those specific students, we can go into the school and talk with them, because most oftentimes they'll listen to us because we walk out with them. We do this thing called life with them, and they trust us. So when we walk into the room, it's kind of like an idea of like, oh, I can this person's going to listen to me and genuinely give me an answer on what I need to do to help me out in the situation. So
I think that's great. The two words that really stuck out to me, safe and they trust. Because we don't know, I mean, you probably find out, but like we don't always know what life, their background looks like.
That's right.
And what they're
Exactly.
coming from on a daily basis, what their moms are like, what their dads are like, what has, you know, have they been abused? Has addictions been issues? So there's just so much. And so they come here to your program, and it's a safe place and a place where they learn to trust. And I think that's so important for that age group, especially because I think trust is a hard issue at that
100%.
age.
Yeah.
So where does Refuge meet?
So Refuge has 4 campuses all across Blair County. We meet Sunday nights in Tyrone at CWC, Community Worship Center. That's Sunday nights from 6:30 to 8:30. Monday nights is at New Life down in Pinecroft. That is our Bellwood campus. We run from 6:30 to 8:30 down there. Tuesday nights is Hollidaysburg at Journey Church, 6:30 to 8:30 as well. And then Wednesday nights is our Altoona campus. That's held at Transformation Church from 6:30 to 8:30 as well.
And anybody can, any of the students can come. What are the age groups?
So it depends on the school district really, because so this is where things have kind of gotten a little bit confusing over the past couple months is the change in grades. So here in Altoona, now it's 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that are now considered middle school, and then 9th through 12th that's high school. I know that sounds a little bit probably normal to most people, but for us it was 7th, 8th, 9th,
Right.
then 10th, 11th, 12th. So depending on how things roll, sometimes we let 5th graders in because Bellwood has some 5th graders that are actually in middle school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a little different how things work over there.
That's a huge age range.
And so most of the time we make sure that those 5th graders can kind of like they're mature enough to be with us.
Okay.
You know, so there's a fine line where we draw there. But mostly, ever since the 6th graders have been able to go to the middle school, we've seen more 6th graders than anything, I believe. So
Well, that's
anywhere,
awesome.
Yeah.
anywhere from 6th grade to 12th grade is what we consider. We have 1 or 2 5th graders that come around because they are mature enough. There's been many that we've told, like, next year you can come up. So it's been, it's hard to navigate that type of stuff.
I know that you focus a little bit on the middle school side.
Yes.
What is that like?
Different.
Well, you terrorized her when you were in middle school.
So now it's back on
It's
you.
just payback.
Yeah.
It was different. It's different. What's really good though is the kids that I do the middle school ministry here at Transformation, and then we have the campus directors that do the others at the other campuses. And it's been really, it hasn't been much of a big issue as you would think it would be. Like you would think the kids would be acting out and stuff. No, these kids actually want to know what we have to talk about, what we have to teach them. You know, so our pastor here at Transformation, he has this like board downstairs. It's kind of like this thing called like a timeline of everything. At first, the kids just kept asking me questions over and over about it, and I didn't know how to answer some of them because, you know, it was just like one point you're here and the next point you're clear down at the other end of the board. So I decided, okay, we're just going to do an entire thing on this thing.
A Bible timeline.
Yeah, basically the Bible timeline.
Okay.
So we started from the beginning, and currently we're going up to Noah right now.
Awesome.
And it's been interesting to open up their minds to different like theoretic theories and stuff like that that are there and exist. You know, I had one kid the other week. We were talking about Adam and Eve and how the serpent came into the garden, and he read in the Bible that says that God cursed the serpent to crawl on his belly for the rest of the days, and he was like, so does that mean before that it had legs or something? And I was like, I don't want to picture a snake with legs because I'm terrified of snakes. But like these kind of questions, you know, it's showing that they're opening up a little bit. And you know, the thing is I've told them is, you know, that we're not kids church anymore. You know, you guys are getting older, and you guys are going into middle school. You're going into junior high. You're going to get the real world now, and our culture now is really shaped by social media. So you're going to experience and see things that you're going to question, and you're going to be like, why am I seeing these things? And you know, that's one of the things where you really need to reflect upon yourself, and you need to have a firm foundation on what you have and what you believe in your faith. And that's what I try to do with these students, is try to help them create a foundation for themselves. And the big thing about that is having them ask the questions, you know, telling the Bible stories, and, you know, giving them the different theories that scholars have found and stuff like that. And they come back week after week with questions.
That's great.
It's so interesting, you know, as I'm
So
sitting
they're
there.
not depending on you. They're learning themselves, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
Seth.
they ask questions all the time. And it's been really interesting to see the development in those students, because you know, they come back and they're like, they'll point out things in the New Testament, and then we're still in the Old Testament, and it's like, yeah, well, in the New Testament it says this, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, that's very cool that you were able to go and find that by yourself.
That's great.
You know, and these kids are 12, 13 years old doing this. So there's a handful of them that are in there, and then This has also created an opportunity, this middle school ministry, for some of our older students. I invite 1 or 2 older students to come down and hang out with me as well. And this has created an opportunity for those older students to be the leaders to these younger ones. Because we all know that that transition from kids' church to the youth group is a difficult one.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
we're trying to smooth that out and help them get an easy road for it. And these older students taking them under their wing has really helped with that.
That's great.
Zeth, it has been excellent having you here. You've come a long way since that day in 6th grade.
Yes.
And it's been a real honor and pleasure to work with you in ministry behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So there you have it for Refuge Youth Network. If you have a child from 6th grade to 12th grade, give these guys a call. Your kids will be in good hands, I promise.
When it's time for a new roof, Champion Roofing is your best choice. We're a certified award-winning roofing contractor, meaning your roof is done right the first time. Call today.
Champion Roofing, we're the solution.
Hey y'all, I'm Hope Darst, and I am so excited to tell you that I'm going to be at Motivate this year, and it's going to be an incredible night of encouragement with worship and testimony, and I really hope you'll join us. It's going to be Saturday, May 13th at Transformation Church in Altoona. So come on, get your tickets, join me. I'm going to be there. You can get the tickets at WTLR.org. It's going to be a great night, and I hope to see you there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we have to have this discussion. It's just that time of the year, and I'm sorry, but it's time to spring clean. Time to get all that winter dust and grime cleaned up and get that house brightened up. After all, we've waited months for this time of year to get here. So I'm going to share a few basic tips to get things started. Number 1, make a schedule. Personally, I'm a checkoff gal. So following this show, we will post a room-by-room spring cleanup list. Print it out or write it down before you get started. Number 2, declutter. Studies show that a house that is cluttered signals the brain that work isn't getting done, therefore causing unnecessary anxiety. Number 3, think green when cleaning. Try to find do-it-yourself cleaning solutions or use plant-based products. It'll do your lungs and the environment a favor. Number 4, always work from top to bottom. And number 5, don't forget to wipe down your walls and windows. Remember, dust settles everywhere. Number 6, go through pantries and cabinets and remove any expired items from your winter stockpile. Number 7, change the air filter in your furnace. It's been all winter collecting dust and all those germs that you've been passing around your house all winter long. And number 8, open your windows. Let the spring air flow through your house. It might be a little chilly, but it will also be refreshing. Number 9, let spring set a new tone. Go out and get some bright colored pillows or change your curtains. Do something to brighten up the place. And number 10, I know we're all sick of wearing masks at this point, but this is one instance a mask might be a very good idea to protect you from inhaling dust and cleaning agents. All right, guys, let's clean. Let's get this place cleaned up, and until next week, we'll see you again on Let's Talk About It.